Appreciate you guys hanging out here in the heat. We had a long outside practice today, training camp practice. What it should be, right? Hard, physical, went back and forth, offense and defense. And I think everybody got a good opportunity to get plays in. I think we tried to get everybody on the field today. Good Sunday morning practice and went a couple hours, 2.5 hours or so. And then we'll see what we can do back tonight in a walkthrough and see how we can get better in the meetings. Way away from where we want to be, but we are, 26 days away from playing. So we're 27 days away from playing. So we got an opportunity to get better every single day. Had Coach Lloyd out here today, which was great. Had the president out here today, which was great. And be able to talk to our guys and continue to talk about the investment that all of Arizona athletics and the cooperation that we all have together.
I was going to say, what was the message from Robin?
He said he's just proud of the boys and the way they're working, and he's been to a lot of practices over the last couple of years, and he's seeing, I think, the differences in the guys from where they were when we first got here to where they are now, the competitiveness, the energy, the size, the speed. He certainly recognized that, and then obviously talked about the importance of our focus being on this year in the Pac-12 and doing everything we can to play the best possible football we can, and then in the future as we transition, we'll do the best we possibly can to give that opportunity to the guys as well.
How do you react to the move to the Big 12?
I think it's what was needed at the time when we found out about the changes that other programs were making and the decisions that other programs were having. It was the only move at this point in time. And there's a lot of positives behind it. Clearly, we all love being in the Pac-12 and playing the schools on the West Coast, but as the schools on the West Coast were no longer in the Pac-12, it made things more difficult and challenging for all aspects of the game. So now it's an opportunity to recruit nationally. It's an opportunity for us to really put a footprint in Texas. I recruited Florida my whole life. Every time I've ever coached at a college program, coaching at Florida, going to Florida, and then being able to recruit Florida. Now that we're playing Central Florida in the future will be great. And then, of course, I love the idea of bringing our West Coast team east. So we're going to spend a lot of time focused on Southern California and Arizona like we always have. But it's great. And I appreciate Dave and appreciate Dr. Robbins for all their hard work in making sure that we landed at a good opportunity at a really good spot. And we did that. And with that being the case, now we have a chance to really focus in on today. We don't have to worry about what's going to happen next. Where are we going to go? We know where we're going to be. We know what's going to happen come the end of the football season. So our focus right now is all on the Pac-12.
I know it's a large decision, but do Robbins and Dave, do they come to you and say, what would you like to see from all this? Or what kind of role do you play in the process?
Yeah, I think that the conversations that they have with all of the head coaches, we need to keep within ourselves. And we recognize the importance of the conversations. We recognize the importance of the decision, and so do they.
What do you think it does for the brand of Arizona to play in those different time zones?
I think for the brand of Arizona, all we continue to do is grow. We all saw the importance of what Arizona was going to do. That was what everybody seemed to be waiting on for a long time. The reason why they were doing that is because of the strength of the Block A. And when that's the case, that's a good sign. More people on the East Coast heard about Arizona over the course of the last 2 weeks than they have in a very long time. More people in Texas continue to hear about Arizona. So if we keep doing things like that, it certainly helped. And then in this case, we got to worry about winning this year. And then we know that people in recruits and coaches across the country have now taken notice.
How do you think these super conferences will affect college football?
I don't know. I think that it's what we're going to. It's what we're headed to. It's where we're at. And I don't know. I feel like I've coached in a super conference 15 of my 25 years, and it's the NFL. And it was a 32-team super conference. And if this happens to be 4 16 teams or whatever it ends up being, maybe one day it'll be 64-team super conference or mega conferences. But right now we're just focusing in on the Pac-12.
In an effort to try to stay connected to California, would you look at possibly scheduling games out there, non-conference, since there could be some openings?
Yeah, I think absolutely there'd be great opportunities. As we get going in the future and scheduling starts being, a discussion point, obviously we had scheduled Texas Tech, Kansas State, games that are now in the conference. So for the future, now we have opportunities that have opened up that we can continue to find ways to play West. And we're going to do that. We're never going to not recruit Southern California. That is a baby of ours. And as long as I'm the head coach here, we are going to dig deep into Southern California and do everything we possibly can. And you know what? It's a lot shorter flight from LA to Houston than LA to Newark Airport.
Is there some strangeness to the season now?
No, really, there isn't. This is an exciting year for our team. Our team has clearly gotten better as a football team. So our focus is each week, how do we improve? And really every day during training camp, how do we improve? So whatever's lingering ahead, I think it would have been much more concerning if we didn't know. If there was this wonder, what's next? There's not that wonder. So we know the 16 teams. We know the 4 teams that we're going to be playing this year. The 3 other teams we're playing this year are going with us. And at that point in time, we'll figure that out at the end of the year.
What do you make of the? Sorry. What do you make of the Big 12 football competition?
I think it's a very good football conference. We've had that Cincinnati 2 years ago, TCU last year in the college football playoffs. So 2 out of the last 2 years. Clearly in basketball, they had Baylor win the national championship, Kansas win the national championship. So you're talking about programs that have been really where we all strive to be, which is the college football playoffs. I think Baylor went 12-1 2 years ago. So there's a lot of good football there. UCF is a great program. Gus Malzahn, I think, is one of the best coaches in the country. So that conference right now is sitting in a spot where there's some really, really good football. And we're excited to join that conference and be one of those major contenders.
Do you have a distinct memory against any Big 12 teams?
Yeah. When I was coaching Arizona, we lost to BYU the first game. That's a distinct memory. Not one of my better memories, but it was a memory nonetheless. No, I don't know how many games I've ever coached against any of those schools that I could think of. I was in the Big Ten as the offensive coordinator twice, Minnesota, Michigan. I was at Miami in the ACC, and I was in the Pac. I've never had any, I can't think of any schools I've coached against over there other than BYU.
Or on the field?
Oh, UCF. I had a good memory there. We beat them 44-7.
How rare is it? I mean, Jonah last year's freshman his size, Raymond Polito. How rare is it to see a 17, 18-year-old kid with that physical stature?
Well, it wasn't rare when I was in Ann Arbor. That's what we were recruiting. It was, you just got to find them. You got to find them. And now at Arizona, that's what we're recruiting. And, Coach Harbaugh is the best at it. He's the best at finding big guys and making them and having good athletic offensive linemen that are big. And I learned from him. And I learned from what that's supposed to look like and how you get to it and what you need to, who you need to go after and who you need to look for. And I think we're getting bigger and bigger with who we're bringing in up front.
A lot of red zone work today. Knowing that both the defense and the offense need to improve in that area, how do you kind of assess what you see? Do you, if the defense is doing really well, you come out of that feeling good about things, or are you hoping the offense does better? How do you weigh all that?
I'm always hoping the defense does better. No, I'm kidding. I coach the offense. So, no, I'm always hoping the offense does better. But truthfully, we talked as a staff, and I talked to the whole team, that the 2 areas where we were porous at in both sides of the ball was red zone defense and red zone offense. And we moved the ball up and down the field statistically on offense, but when we got to the red zone, we again were in the 80s, right? Which is just not good enough. Defensively in the 90s, not good enough. And we just made a commitment that the first 5 days of training camp, we weren't going to go anywhere past the 30-yard line. And we were going to work our way down all practice, every walkthrough. We haven't done anything in walkthroughs or in meetings or on the practice field that hasn't been between the 1 and the 29-yard line. And we're going to continue that tomorrow and continue that on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll take a player day off and then get to the field. It's important, and we got to get better at it.
Are there any updates on Tia Savea and Isaiah Johnson?
I think Tia did individual today, so we're just working through that. It's, nothing major in terms of the injury. He should be going back. And then Isaiah Johnson, I think he's probably still a little bit far away. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.